Anybody that's in Dubai is actively looking for something else. People don't come to Dubai anymore. Do you have the relevant industry? Have you done this role? Do you have the relevant background? It's literally looking for a plug and play because they have the luxury of choosing talent.
Because we have a job mindset, not a career mindset.
My biggest disappointment, I think, is gone.
So understanding the insights from HR leaders like yourself, that's the secret sauce. Today, I'm joined by Melody Sheybani, 20 plus years of HR experience across the region. And I want to understand, how do companies really think? Are they focused on long-term assets, or is it all about the quick wins when hiring? How would you describe the Middle East job market for candidates that are looking for new opportunities?
If we look at candidates looking for job opportunities, is that the candidates that are currently already in the market, or there are the global candidates that now Dubai has become the new best thing and everybody's looking to relocate here?
Let's sub-question it then, which is people in the GCC.
Yeah, right. With GCC experience.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. My overall insight and the outlook of what I see today, it's become tougher than ever. Why? Because of the overall race of everybody wanting something shinier, bigger, better, more money.
Yeah.
I think the competition among the talent that's within the Middle East is severe. This is not a cliche. I'm not talking about like, oh, this is like, it's always like that, right? I think where we sit today, if we look at the job market, there are opportunities for sure. But I think the level of qualifications and the level of the talent that's also out there that's willing to take those jobs, I would say it's at the max, at the peak.
So the talent's really good, which
Talent
makes
is
it
good.
harder to secure the role,
something.
or does it make it harder for companies to make a decision?
I wouldn't say it like that. I think it's allowing the companies to become more picky in terms of plug and play.
Okay.
It's long gone the days that say, oh, I just hire for potential. I hire and then I'll teach them, I'll develop them. What I see more and more what's happening with the organizations, because they have the luxury of choosing talent, it's becoming I want to copy paste. I want
10
to plug
boxes
and
to
play.
tick.
Everything needs to be exactly. And I don't want to go through the hassle of developing.
There's two schools of thought here. Is it
Go ahead.
because there's an abundance of talent that people know that they can get someone who ticks
All the boxes.
each one of those boxes? Or is it that we are a society of individuals that if there's a chance to cut a corner and not invest time and effort, we prefer to do that?
You're taking me towards the philosophical sort of made up of how I believe organizations in the Middle East have come about, right? The patient level is pretty short, right? It's not about bringing talent. It's all short-term thinking. It's about who can do the job today, right?
We operate in a really transient market. So your time in Dubai is finite. It's based on your job, which means that people tend to think with a short-term mindset, especially with companies that have huge mobility programs that move people around.
But my point is, it's not just the people, it's also the organizations.
But then how does HR change this philosophy? Because I know that you've worked for large blue chip organizations in the past that would hire for potential.
Absolutely.
How do you now change the mindset of a hiring manager? Say, look, no. Stop thinking for the next 12 months. Start thinking for the next 12 years.
Exactly. And I think that comes in the one-on-one conversations. It's not a big bang. It's not something that you just switch on the light on or off, right? It's genuinely about having the conversations as part of the hiring process with every single hiring manager.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. I see sort of the prospect of organizations saying, that's okay. I don't need to worry about that. I have a job today. I need someone that can come and get the ground up and running immediately, right? I think the tolerance level of also in getting induction into the role, getting to know the business, getting to know sort of you start, congratulations, you're given an offer in a couple of weeks. Long gone the days that it was about a couple of months. It becomes the option of, okay, where is performance? What are you doing?
As a region, we don't have a contract market like developed markets like the UK or Germany, but we're developing a contract mindset, which is bring someone in, do the job, and then they can go if they don't fit the purpose for the business. after 12 months.
The other interesting element of what I see here is it's not just about bringing the person to do the job today. It's also about this appetite. What I see with a lot of organizations, unfortunately, is once you're in, then you're just one of us. Like you don't have that added value anymore.
Okay.
It seems the talent that sits outside is more attractive than the talent that they have from within the
The
organization.
grass is greener cliche.
Always, right? So what I see from an organization outlook, why is it that we don't take the chances? Even let's say we have a higher role or a higher opportunity. Why would we not, as the first instant, offer it to our own people? Even though we have to take a chance, even though we know they might not be ready today as an immediate successor, but why is it that always the candidate outside seems to be more attractive than the candidate we have in-house?
When you go to market
Yeah.
and you externally focus your efforts, do you do so because the appetite for the company is to hire externally, or it's a benchmarking exercise against your internal talent?
Usually, all organizations say we need to be more proactive. We need to create these talent pools with external world. We need to know who sits in which jobs. So there is always a realization that we have to have that proactive mindset of looking for who's in the external talent bench. But when it comes to the practicality on a day-to-day basis, we sort of ignore that and we go directly into the reaction mode. I have a vacancy today. I have to fill it in today.
Yeah.
Oh my God, panic mode. I have to hire, right? The notice periods here in this part of the world doesn't exceed, I don't know, gosh, if you're lucky, if you're sitting in very senior roles, it's 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So it's between 1 to 3 months max. So then it comes that sort of reactive speed, plug and play. Let me go after certain roles, that certain person that's doing the same job in the other organization, right? So you literally go after the headhunting of that person that does the role you're looking for in the other, I don't know, whether competition, whether, there's also no competition clause. Or
The competition
really it's not
clauses are
enforced.
as like chocolate teapots. They're weak as anything in this region.
Yes.
Trust me,
Exactly.
I haven't seen one enforced in
never.
20 plus years.
100%.
But do companies do this because they want to bring in the talent because they want the talent, or do they also think I'm taking something away from my competition, which gives me an advantage and a USP?
Interesting question. I wish it was the second one.
You wish?
I wish it
They
was
don't think
more
that
of
way.
that mindset of saying, yes, I desire the best talent I can get. I don't think they do that to hurt the competition. Not really. Yeah, no, I think it becomes more of an inward thinking, right? And what I've also seen a lot with hiring managers is that they go for the safety net. They go for the people that they know from their previous network. I have a lot of conversation, you won't believe, with my hiring managers. These are senior people in the organization, right? Which I talk to them, Mark, about, but hang on, there might be other better talent out there that is just not happen to be within your current network of people you know today.
People are naturally quite familiar all anyway, from a cultural perspective and from a perspective of perhaps that's how they got their jobs in the past. So it's kind of pay it forward. But if you look at organizations now, let's say you've got an organization of 200 people, you could have 25 different nationalities.
Oh, yes.
But 40% could be one nationality. How, from a HR perspective, do you work on like D&I initiatives to create different thought processes, different ways of thinking when you have these types of problems?
You want my filtered answer or the unfiltered? And this is one
I
of
want
those.
your frustrated answer, the one where you're pulling out your hair. That's what I want.
All right, so the unfiltered answer. Yeah. I always say as a joke, I'm a live example of diversity, right? So I personally carry that diversity.
You do.
I'm a Persian American. You don't get that dynamic in the corporate within the HR world of the, whether I call it the UAE or the Middle East, right? So I carry, usually, I think by far, no matter which organization I work for, I'm one of the minorities, right? Personally. So I don't have that bias towards any different nationality. My unfiltered answer to that, Mark, is long gone the days where we actually care about diversity and sort of inclusion and bringing sort of, the overall. I know there was a trend at the time where organization even appointed one sort of an actual role to be looking after those positions.
From an optics perspective.
From optics perspective, from hygienic perspective. And it was more mainly at the board level. So it was more of representing the organization profile at the C-suite level to say, look, we have diversity, we have the overall
we have
inclusion, we have I think that trend has died. You see more and more of such roles do not exist anymore. I genuinely believe that everybody has moved on from really talking about diversity of nationalities, gender. You look back in terms of the dynamic, and I'm talking about board level below, all the way, right? Yeah. And no one anymore is really talking on the high agenda of whether we really need a diverse workforce or not. I think it's gone.
I'm not in corporate, so I couldn't say whether or not it is or isn't. I can tell you now, just from hiring methodologies, we're told at the very beginning, diversity and inclusion. We want positive discrimination to be able to spread in terms of our, what markets we hit or what types of people we bring on board. But ultimately, most hires end up with very similar character traits to the hiring manager.
It's nice to say you want it, exactly. So it comes as part of requirements, probably in the job description, right? But the actual person that they make the final call.
Because we have a job mindset, not a career mindset. That's
right.
And that's the big shift. How long do you think it's been like that for? Because it hasn't. We said it at the beginning. It hasn't always been like that. No. So, is it the fact that there's been macroeconomic implications for this region that meant that people can't think longer term, they have to think short term?
I genuinely think, Mark, is also the product of watching that the talent that you put so much effort and you hire is willing to just walk out with, few, 1,000 dirhams more next door neighbor, right? I think this is probably the outcome of realizing, I'm not defending the organizations for that, but I think it's the outcome of realizing that no matter who I hire, it's going to leave anyway, right? So this whole talent movement is not just led by the companies, it's also led by the talent itself. I almost say this with confidence. I watch anybody being in HR, you won't believe the sheer volume of people that contact me on a daily basis. They have jobs. By the way, it's not like they're out of a job, but they're active in the market looking for a better opportunity. I joke around it. I say people don't come to Dubai anymore, right? This is anybody that's in Dubai is actively looking for something else, right? And anybody that's outside Dubai is looking to come into Dubai to look for jobs.
Which means that if you are outside the region with no regional experience, your chances of securing a job are at what percentage?
You're just competing with a population that already has a relevant experience within the local context. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Yes. So not that you cannot get it, but you just running your chances a lot lower, the probability of it, because it's a tough one. It's a boiling pot.
Just looking at it from a job perspective, from a skills perspective, what have been the types of roles, the types of skills that companies have been fighting after for the past 3, 4, 5 years?
So I think that depends on what industry.
Let's say consumer products and FMCG,
yeah, because I'm
which is something
within
we're
FMCG.
both familiar with. Yeah.
Sure, exactly. So I'm very much focused within FMCG, right? I've had an era of oil and gas, but let's just sort of shift it to what I know best, which is FMCG. A lot of roles are within marketing.
Yep.
Yes. So that's from sales, from brand marketing, from trade marketing. So the having the network of relationships within the local context goes a long way. First of all, Arabic. Yes. Yep. Whether you really need it or not is besides the point. It's one of the ones that, you consistently see as part of the job description, right? It's one of those requirements, just
desirable
like diversity.
Or essential? Because it's not essential.
It's not essential, but it's one of those like diversity. You always get it as part of the brief.
Yeah.
Right? But it doesn't mean that by the time you're actually going for your selection is one of the ones that's going to be,
because eventually your soft skills and your technical skills will rise to the top.
Sure.
Is it true?
I agree. I genuinely do.
So this familial hiring of nationality, even university, language skills, how much weight does that have versus human skills and technical skills?
I think it's a qualifier to be shortlisted, to even be contacted to go for an interview.
Okay, so it's a door opener.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you could pass through that and go towards the interview, I always say to the candidate, I said, hey, don't focus on jobs. You just need to get an interview.
Yeah.
Because once you get the interview, hey, you have to have the skill to be able to easily get the offer.
Has there been a shift in the skills that people are looking for in hiring? And I'm not talking about technical skills here. I'm talking about human skills, leadership, stakeholder management, all the cliche, I need this exposure. Is there genuinely a shift happening in this area for candidates?
In my outlook or the perspective of what I see today, I think that's always been there. So I don't see a shift.
You don't see a
Personally,
shift?
I don't see that it's changed, it's more, it's less. No.
But the weighting of which hiring managers put on it, has that shifted at all?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I genuinely think what has shifted is the plug and play.
Okay.
It's not about I hire you for your potential and then you have time to develop and learn the job. It's come, do you have the relevant industry? Do you have the relevant background? Have you done this role? It's literally looking for a plug and play. Is my personal, I would say, biggest disappointment, right?
The disappointment
because
you're a HR, so you're trying to build a community, an organization, right?
Somebody into the organization that I can offer a career, not just a job. I would love to bring, I always say they're the best talent for the job, right? But the best talent for the organization, regardless of your nationality, regardless of your gender, right? It's always about having the best for the role. But then it's not just to come and do the job, it's to be able to offer you a career.
How do you then, as from a HR perspective, create a environment that supports multi-generational workforce? How do you attract and retain Generation Z when their whole objective is not to show you what they can do for you in the first 12 months? Their whole objective is to understand if their purpose fits with your purpose. And can they add value?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that as a HR person.
Sure. So the generational shift is mind-blowing. I so much enjoy this whole sort of watching the new generation of workforce coming in. I think what's important in that, Mark, just on the side note, is first of all, for us that are of the older generations, we should not call them kids. I think the language or recognizing consciously making an effort that we are not,
I agree. By the way, I agree. It's a value shift. It's also a environmental shift, because if you want to define generations, when you and I were working, we got the job, we sat down 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Yes, we didn't ask why. We just did the job that we were asked to do. That shift now is much different.
Sorry, on that. And we said they put a 10-year plan for us. And we were like, wow.
And we had a badge of honor because we did 60 hours in a week. And we were like, yeah, look at us.
That's
We've got poor health. I don't see my family.
Right. And we had a long-term plan.
Yeah.
It's long gone.
It's long gone.
No one, and genuinely, the new generation is not interested to stay with you for 10 years.
They're not. Okay, so on the flip side, this is
they're not.
Almost ironic, is that if people then go to market who've had 3 or 4 jobs in 5 years, they're dismissed because they hop around. Yet if we're hiring for 12-month windows and we're not supporting different generationals' value mechanism, that's going to be what all CVs are going to look like in the next 10 years.
That's right.
So how do we solve it? I haven't got the answer, by the way.
I genuinely think it's a shift of mindset. It's a shift of mindset of thinking we should stop labeling people that we used to label. Oh, if you haven't been in the same company or same stability for the last 5 years, there's probably something wrong. That is where we come from. We are used to people having long tenures in one organization, in one job. Career progression, I'm all for it, right? Even if you stay in the same organization, I'm a live example of it, right? I stayed at British American Tobacco for 15 years.
Yeah.
But every 2 years, I hopped around within the same organization, right? So I'm a huge ambassador of saying career progression matters. You've got to have career aspirations and you need to move on. When I say the organizations are looking at a plug and play, I'm not assuming that they are looking to hire just for a 12-month span. So I want to sort of just
No,
correct that,
but I
right?
think they assess more. I think the weighting of assessment is within the first 12 months.
True, because they have a need today.
They have a need today, but
So
they're
they
not
look
thinking
at-
about what evolution may happen post that 12-month period.
Because it really doesn't matter, does it? Because if you cannot cut it, then I'll go find somebody else from outside. Sorry, with all
Or I
due
might
respect.
not even be here
Or I
because
might not even.
it's a
You've
transient
got it.
market.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So to link that back to the new generation,
Yes.
I think what the new generation, as you rightly said, is looking for is how are you going to add to me?
Mm.
So it's shifted. Whereas before, so sort of, the hiring managers are usually of the previous generation. So the hiring manager comes in and say, what can you offer, right? And the new generation looks at you and goes, hang on, no. It's about what you're going to offer me.
I'm here to assess you, not the other way around.
And I love that. It shakes the core.
But do you think then but hiring managers who have hired the same way for the last 10 years, are they adapting quick enough to this new generation?
I don't think so. I personally don't think so.
Okay. And does that mean then that if I'm new to the marketplace, let's say I am part of the Gen Z workforce. Sure. I've got 3 or 4 years experience. I've got 2 positions under my belt with different companies.
Yeah.
But do I have to change the way I present myself and be in an adaptive state to fit my audience, or 100%. Should I be natural?
100%. So
adaptive.
Adaptive.
Okay.
My personal advice would be,
fake it until you make it.
If you really want the job.
Yeah.
Yes. If you really wanted the job, you've got to adapt to the style of that organization you are targeting. You need to make sure you have the right sort of language to be able to fit the profile of what the hiring manager is looking for.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying that's the reality of
That's the reality. That's how people make decisions.
I think the stage of where the organizations are, we just haven't taken that leap, right? I don't think the generational awareness is there within the organizations. A lot of organizations in this part of the world, Mark, they're very inward looking, right?
Okay.
So they don't really keep up with the trend of what's happening. They almost get their head out to say, or hang on, so what's the talent out there, right? And then they find 1 or 2 and then they just go back into their own inward thinking. AI included. So you asked me about what are the type of jobs, like artificial intelligence is more and more, it's real, it's here, it's with us, yes? Are we really leveraging it? Are we actually using it as part of our decision-making processes within the organizations?
This is a whole different topic, and I want to. It's an interesting topic, but okay.
Are we too negative?
No, we're not negative. I think there's an element of being realistic as opposed to idealistic. I think that if you were to speak to people, senior people in big corporations, they would say that's not the reality of the situation. But I think when you're at the coalface, and I'm at the coalface, and I'm sure you've been at the coalface many times, that is the reality of the situation. This is how the world operates in the Middle East.
That's right.
And I think it's better to be honest about it as opposed to pretend that it's all shiny with, bells and whistles.
Agreed. Yeah.
And one of the things that we as recruiters are trying to do is give candidates the best chance of success. So understanding the insights from HR leaders like yourself on what really happens behind closed doors, that's the secret sauce. Sure. Because the people that are watching this are not other HR directors and not business owners. Yes. It's the hundreds of thousands of candidates on the market that are looking for that extra edge.
Yes, I hear you.
How far are we from getting to this Elysium? And will it ever happen?
I surely hope so. But it's not going to miraculously just fall off the sky. I think it's a realization. I think it's having this type of open, honest conversations. I think what really is going to shift or move the needle is to say, hang on, let's self-reflect, right? Are we doing something differently? Exactly the right questions you just asked me, Mark. From the past 10 years, if I've been a hiring manager, if I've been hiring in this organization, have I changed my approach? I think more and more that type of realizations needs to happen across all of the industries in this part of the world, right? I think it's not up to HR. I don't think this is something that one or two members of the organization can just shift it or swiftly move the needle. I think it's the collective effort of self-realization to say, are we actually doing the right thing? Should we be modifying anything to be able to not miss the boat?
So it starts at the very top.
I think it starts at the very top.
It's the business owner or it's the business runner. Okay.
It's the leadership team. I think it's the collective leadership team of saying, am I making any alterations to my outlook of how I go about making decisions on the type of talent I want to bring into the organization, right? Or am I bringing more of my own lookalikes? Yes, because I've also over and over have seen the tendency of you have a very good pool of, let's say, 4 or 3 shortlisted candidates, and you have that tendency of going for the one that is most, I don't want to say lookalike, but closer to you, right? Whether it's nationality, whether it's the values, right? You sort
the
of have
unconscious bias, basically.
Unconscious bias, yes, that we always talk about. We've been running workshops on unconscious bias. It's been going around for such a long time. Yes, it's all within your own, human psychology of realizing that at the end of the day, I prefer the one that has the closest association to me.
That's married to my cousin. Yeah. That was really good, by the way. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today. For more episodes from ChatGRG, find us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. See you next time.